Hello, Tony.
Hi, how are you today?
Oh, I'm not too bad for an old fella.
Thank you for inviting me over today. I'd like to talk a little Sunday shopping with you today.
Well, I do have some things to say about Sunday shopping. I've been an employer for years, and I always felt it was an honorable thing to do to have a day home. My men always enjoyed their days home that they got off work, and especially Sunday. And I can't see why Sunday would be needed. I'm very disappointed in the fact of the statutory holidays. This whole thing has gone so far that it's robbing the families of what little precious time they have left. And it's not right, it's not fair. And we pay for holidays, and I think that the men should ought to enjoy those days home, and even Sunday more particular.
How do you feel about, in 2004 we had a plebiscite, a democracy vote, and Rodney McDonald kind of sold us out on the court issue. But it wasn't just Rodney McDonald, it was all political parties of the province that supported Sunday shopping. So, in other words, didn't they sell out the electorate? I mean, shouldn't we have, our vote should have counted? It was really rather disappointing. What's your thoughts on it?
I was very surprised that it went the way it did. And I think a lot of people wanted to vote against it. And you must remember, the big box stores, they seem to have quite a clout. They come into a town, and God knows they get hands out of taxpayers' dollars. They're taking money out to do these great things, and then they turn around and take our Sundays away from us. We're very little more than puppets of the string.
What would you say if someone said to you that you could have family day any day?
Well, you can if you don't have to work, but Sunday is a day that had been always traditionally set aside, and it was useful in many ways for a family. There was more togetherness with the family. Today, I think of all the problems that we're having is being forced on the people who are losing this. And I think there's a rebellion in a sense that's even affecting married life, home life. They're taking too much away from the working raw every day. And it's not that they're going to gain anything, because the extra expenses in operating, and I know operating expenses can kill you, but to me, there's lots to go around, and this shopping on Sunday has brought this economic conditions that's now upon us, because there is still only so much that's going to go around. But before long, they're going to have to realize the errors that's been made and correct them.
Do you miss the quiet Sundays we used to have, the quiet times that Nova Scotians used to have, the less traffic and people walking and spending time together?
Yes, I do. I miss it. And Sundays you can't even sit outside anymore. It's just a rat race. And it's people going nowhere in a hurry. And it's time that we slow down. And I think that if we picked up our lifestyle that we've lost, I think a lot of other things in our society would correct itself.
Absolutely. I really think there's a lot of things we can do. What about, what would you say about to those people out there that are scared to give an opinion?
Well,
they're scared they may lose their job. Where we have a Charter of Rights and Freedom, shouldn't we?
They'll change that eventually if they can, and you'll either jump to the whistle or you won't have a job. And basically, it's coming closer and closer. The economic times is taking work away from us. And those that aren't working, they ain't going to be shopping Sunday anyway.
Yes.
How can you shop if you got no money? And as far as I'm concerned, I think that this rush, this Sunday shopping is just generating a situation that's developing into chaos.
Yes, it has. It's really developing into a chaos.
Yes,
But I
ma'am.
find a lot of people are timid in giving an opinion, and you know, when you think about all these people that went to wars to fight for us, to give us that right, shouldn't we be able to give our opinion?
I think that our opinion is necessary, and I believe that people shouldn't be afraid to say how they feel. They're certainly not hurting or taking offense against anybody, but I believe that people that are afraid to stand up and talk, they need their jobs so bad that they'll submit to this before they would really rebel against it.
So in other words, we're not really helping out our children of today and tomorrow by remaining silent, are we?
Well, here's where families breaking down, and that Sunday that they could have is taken away from them now. And you know, the big stores, and I've got around to it, they have quite a way in doing things. They'll make their sales and prices so popular on Sunday that people now are trying to get most out of their dollar will go there and shop on Sunday because they're happy to get a little break in their costs and their expenses. And the world of economics and the sensible way of doing things, we only need so much to live on, that's true. But we don't need to go by every day of the week.
I don't know if you're aware of it or not. This not exactly has to do with our local area, but over in France they're having a big debate. Over in France currently they have no Sunday, what they call trading, and they're trying to take away the day of rest over there, and a lot of the French are hostile because they really believe in traditional day of rest. What would you say to them?
Well, I think that what they're doing is certainly the right thing. They're expressing themselves, and we needed this type of freedom in Canada, although I'll admit there are a lot of people afraid of their jobs, and they think, you know, if they don't go to work, they'll lose their jobs. And I would imagine it would make a strain on them. It causes more stress. And this is the kind of thing that these days they say stress can hurt you. Well, they're not helping their employees by putting them under distress. Even if they're willing to work, some people do almost anything to try to get enough money to get by. But still, that's extra stress that's driving the impossible.
How upset were you with the court decision? I mean, here we had a government that blamed the poor judge, and they turned around and opened the doors to Sunday shopping. Clearly, in the court statement, it wasn't the judge that allowed it. Our premier decided to allow it. Don't you think he was under immense pressure by big business to open, and this was his way in?
Big business has a way of finding the money to change things. I'm not making suggestions here or accusations, but these big businesses have a way of finding the money that can change the mind of our leaders and the people we send to represent us, and so the game goes on.
If you were watching on the news during the election campaign, Darrell Dexter, Rodney McDonald, and Steve McNeil, they were talking, and Darrell Dexter offered all the leaders to do away with unions and corporation contributions. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, money is being used too much as an influence, and when you use money as an influence, you're taking the tangible things that every family needs to survive. By using that against people is not right. And I don't believe for one moment that they should be allowed to charge money for goods and services that will accumulate a profit to allow them to do this.
I mean, aren't governments empowered to look after the people? It seems like they're just looking after big business needs.
Well, government at one time was government of the people, for the people, by the people. And today, it's a well-known fact. A member gets elected, and if he goes to the legislature and sits on our behalf, if he don't agree with a very few people, he's kicked out. And here again, how do people really get their feelings brought before the government and have an honest debate about it and an honest understanding? When you see people that you send to Halifax kicked out because they would disagree with the government per se, and if they don't toe the line, they're not wanted. There's too much pressure.
Absolutely.
Money is the thing that
absolutely. I know quite a few people with all different political stripes that disagree with Sunday shopping, and they are not able to give their opinion because they don't toe the party line. Do you agree with that?
I don't think they should ought to. I don't think they should ought to be chastised for representing the public. And here again is where democracy comes. It stops right here.